Camp Fair started way back the centuries, and in more recent years, Lord Ventry, who was the landlord of the entire peninsula, he started a fair at the village in September, and people used to come from all over Ireland, all over Munster really, trying to buy rams for they were great breed. So he bought the first Scotch breed of sheep here to camp, and the Scotch breed are here today, and they'll be here hopefully with another several generations. The thing about it is that since the marts came, we still managed to keep the sheep fair going despite the mart, because the marts now are where a lot of the farmers buy their stock and sell their stock, but we managed to keep it alive, so it's a great tradition. And the mutton pie, you have to go in and have a mutton pie before the day is out.
Well, when I started coming here as a child with my father, there'd be pins on both sides of the road, all the way down and all the way up here, up all the streets. There'd be, there'd no way a car would come up or down on a truck. There'd be so many sheep inside in the pins. There was men here would used to bring sheep. One man, I remember him bringing 100 sheep here and going back again for another 100 after dinner. And he had them all sold in lots, and there was a lot of men, all these men used to come with sheep. They used to even come the evening before that time to put up the pins. They bring the sheep, they were walking them, that time, I suppose before my time they were walking them. Not one walks them all the time. Jimmy the Wire probably walked them here this morning, but he'd be one of the only ones, and the rest of them brought them by box, and most of the men that I was dealing with, God be good to them, are all dead and gone. So but we'll keep it alive as long as we can anyway.
Just 50 years ago today I came here with my father. I bought 25-year-old lambs at a $5 apiece, and we walked them home back into Limbe. And I've been in camp since then. I've been in London for the last 51 years. I got the freedom of London last year and I walked my sheep over London Bridge. So.
I always enjoy coming to the fair.
And how long are you coming to the fair?
A good few years, I'd say. I can't remember how many, 30 or 14 years. Give it to that.
And are you a local woman? Are you from camp?
I am.
So is it the biggest day of the year in camp?
It's a big fair day in camp, yes.
And how would it compare now maybe with the fair in years gone by?
Well, I said it would be bigger long ago than now. Do you think so?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It's got smaller now, but keeping up the tradition.
Just keeping up the tradition, yes.
It's nice, yeah.
And I heard the mutton pies are a big thing. Would you have made the mutton pies on this day?
Well, long ago I would, but not now.
You're retired now.
I am.
Why not?
The Sunday coming is coming at last. With joy turned to sorrow, her flag was half-mast. Peter was falling on the first day of spring, and tears with her casket the robins to sing. I will be back when the robins comes home. I'll have enough money and make you my own. Don't be so lonely just now when I'm gone. But I will be back when the robin comes home. Yes, I will be back when the robin comes home.
King came from, I think it signifies white, and originally it was it kind of referred to the purity of Christ. I think that's the religious symbolism. But then Whit Sunday was considered to be the unluckiest day of the year, and to such an extent that it was a tradition in Ireland that you didn't leave your house on that day, because if you went out you could have an accident or something could happen to you, so you were advised to stay at home on Whit Sunday. And the other thing was the evil spirit was supposed to be present in the water. So on Whitsunday, you would never go for a swim, or you wouldn't go bathing, or you wouldn't go sailing, obviously, or across the water, and you wouldn't even walk by the water's edge. And the other thing associated with water, I thought this was very interesting. People who died by drowning, the tradition was that they would come back on Whitsunday and they'd be in the water. And the thing was that they would force the people to come in and meet them on Whitsunday. So I think that's why people avoided the water or the sea on Whitsunday. And another thing was that if you got sick, if you were sick on Whitsunday, the likelihood was, or they believed that you would be sick for the full year. People born on Whitsunday were considered to be very unfortunate, and it was believed that these people would grow up to harm other people or even to kill them. So the idea was that the baby who was born on Whitsunday, to avoid that happening, they would put a little worm or an insect into the baby's hand and get the baby to push the insect so that they would have done whatever damage they had done to the small animal at that time. And that was to avoid the baby growing up and doing some evil deeds. Holy water would be spread around the house. And also in some places there was scattered blood, and the blood was to appease the evil spirit on that day. And I suppose the holy water was to expel the evil spirit. So it was a very unlucky day, and not a day to be sick or to be born or to go swimming or do anything. So the idea was you'd stay at home, avoid all danger and any harm happening to you. And I think the evil spirit was also present in animals on that day. So it was a very scary kind of a day, and as I said, it was called the unluckiest day of the year.
Thank you.
The item I'd like to show you today is an old style Irish dancing dress which I actually found on Etsy, an online shop. It was being sold by a lady who said she got it from a vintage shop over in Yorkshire, and that shop was being supplied by other suppliers, so she could not find out the original source for me. So what initially caught my eye in the very first place was this gorgeous embroidery here, which is a woman or a girl on a spinning wheel, which is something I've never ever seen before on an Irish dancing dress, which is remarkable. And if you look closely, you can see that it's actually hand stitched. You know, you see the little pieces here, that it's not very even for example here, you see it's not perfectly even. So it might have been done by a mother, perhaps, you know, a mother of a daughter who was dancing at the time. It's just an incredible feat here that's been done, and the stitches of the shamrocks you see here and the ivy. And if you go a bit up, we see the harp here being stitched, which I just found was absolutely gorgeous as well. It had kind of like a certain type of naivety in the stitching, which I really particularly was taken to and loved, and just found it so unique. The dress has hand crochet cuffs and a hand crochet collar, as it was the style back then. I'm not an expert, but I would say by the motifs that I see here and here, compared to other dresses that I've found and documented so far, and especially as well by, I don't know if you can see it here, it doesn't really show, but actually there's a tiny little bit of glitter around these threads here. I would date it to around the 70s. Sadly enough, the dress came without a sash, but you see there's a loop here, which meant that there was a sash or a cape, as you would call it, that came attached in the back of the dress. That would have been right there, which is now of course missing, and would have been attached to the loop to secure while dancing. The rest of the dress is there. It's in really good condition. It's lined as well. If you look at it, it's been used with care. So there it is now. A pink, gorgeous, old style dress from probably the 70s, I would presume. So I'm going to introduce you to the women of my family from my mother's side. This was my grandmother here. This was about when I was maybe around 8. My granny was from the northern part of Colombia, a place called Barranquilla. And this was on her big trip to Europe that we took her around then and visited several different countries with her. And this one now is a photograph of us. It's actually the last photograph of us together. This was taken during my big world trip, and this was actually the very last time we saw each other, just before she passed away then a couple of years after that in 2015. And the funny thing that I actually realized about this story today was that actually during this exact trip, just about a couple of days after this photograph was taken, I found the book Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt and read it and immediately fell in love with it, and I loved it so much that I bought it again in Spanish and gave it to my mum. And she loved it, and we kept talking about the book and laughing and giggling about it together, you know. And she asked me then to buy the book again in Spanish so she could bring it to her mother. And she brought it over, and they laughed about it over the phone then, you know. She told me and giggled, and later my mom told me actually that Granny then lent the book to the whole village, and the whole village was reading it in turn, you know. They were passing the book around. And the link of the whole story is that these two photographs and this photograph from my mother that she actually gave to her mother, these photographs were all in that book, Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt, in Spanish, that my granny had for her, and my mum took that book back and gave me then these photographs. She kept the book, and the book had some letters stuck in the pages, you know, like tucked between the pages and stuff, and she gave me these 3 photographs then, and these are the 3 photographs then that I took with me here to Ireland.
I mean, on méo lá fehead sin inúh sin pátrú do manarde agus tobar ón baiste agus tugad tumníoch an tobar den ón baiste tuisc de réna scéalta gur drúd nó drí ón áitse in dícanú navel ón baiste. So that it was a drúd from this area, and there was a Cabot or Macra, I forget the names, but again, it's a story that beheaded John the Baptist. So great stories. Anyway, tradition continues, and the amazing thing about it is that the tradition of the Passion has survived for millennium, really, for over 2,000 years when you think about it, even more. And people were very loyal to it. Now deirta go lie sound the ma all into ishkas go lie sound the hinnis keen. There's cure for headaches and also for skin ailments, but deirta's valid is go will pair of the heart go near the shemahastir that whatever is wrong with you it will actually help you. So tento timpel ne nura agus command to encore if instead let the raw or the raw deirtar on a her shed vahavera glord in her no pair of the smeen.
You may talk of the past and the times long ago, when things were relaxed and things moved so slow, when the summers were sunny, when the days they were long, and the land was filled with all music and song. Growing up in Lisbon wasn't all fun, there was plenty hard work and jobs to be done. Trying to save hay in the rain and the fog, with the pain in your back from cutting turf in the bog.